Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, Summers was late to work today-worthy podcast. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of October, 2020. Well,
Wow.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm fine, and it is just mind-boggling to me that we are in the final quarter of 2020 already.
Yeah.
This
Time. There it goes, passing again. Time.
it's just
nuts.
It is nuts. It's just beyond comprehension at some levels, and I don't know. The darkness in the world infects everything, but there's light. There is light, and that's what we're doing here, right, Summers?
Yes, we are here doing the light work. That is our job. Sorry, everybody. Cleo's in the background shaking her collar, and guess what? We're not going to be able to do anything about it because, once again, Kristy and I have to produce this whole thing. So we have been down a couple team members at the Optimist Daily this week. Family emergencies and health issues and all sorts of things. And Kristy and I are sort of awkwardly attempting to steer the ship. I don't know. You're a boater. You can tell me the right way to say that. We are somehow making it work, and the site and content and everybody's doing really well. But these things that our team members do on a daily basis is, I mean, it's just unreal. And when we're not able to do it with them and we have to do it on our own, it's kind of a mess.
Summers, I think we might need another intern.
You know what? I think we do need another intern. And actually, Kaylee, who is our marketing manager, has put together some intern descriptions. So we are going to be putting that out there. So actually, this is an unofficial call for interns. We are looking for college students or students who are perhaps on a gap year or taking some time off after they've finished high school to join the Optimist Daily intern team. It needs to be for college credit, but we'll tell you more. Anyway, yeah, random little sales pitch, but we need marketing and writing and editorial and help us interns. And we promise you'll learn lots.
Okay, yeah. Why were you late to work today, Summers?
Because I had to do my hair. So I am currently sitting in a bathrobe with a toner on my hair and a plastic cap. And this morning I showed up late to the podcast recording, and about 10 minutes late I messaged Kristy and said, I need 10 more minutes. And then I sat down and she looked at me in the video and said, oh, that's why. But every night for the past 4 nights, I have said, oh, I'm going to dye my hair after the baby goes to bed tonight. And every night I have not. So it's actually been like 4 days since I washed my hair, and it just had to happen. So I would like to thank you for your patience with me this morning, Kristy. And I will have a cool vanilla Sorrento blonde for our meeting in an hour and a half.
Okay. Well, I hope you don't overprocess it by having to sit with me and record this podcast today.
Exactly, which is why we're going to go super fast. Chop, chop. All right. What story do you want to talk about?
Before we get into stories, I just think it's so interesting to see what will happen after this, and we are released from our homes and can go back into salons without thinking about it. I'm not sure if I'll go back to a normal routine or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Behavior has certainly changed in a dramatic way, and a lot of behaviors I don't think will go back. I think it is, I know that while I've been able to sort of thumb my way through getting color done, my home done cuts are getting worse and worse. So I know that there is no way I can continue to do this without some professional intervention. But I, like you, it's going to be a long time before I want to go sit in a salon full of people. And just remember how, like, lovely that used to be to sit in the chair and to get
Yeah.
your hair done, and they'd twirl you around and you'd look in the mirror and be like, I'm beautiful.
To get the treatments, and now we have these COVID shags.
The COVID shag. We wear it with our pajama leisure.
All right. Well, styles change, and maybe this one will last a while, or maybe not. Maybe we'll go back to all buttoned up, and
maybe we'll just shave our heads. I don't know. I donated every piece of business clothing I have, so it's going to be challenging to put a suit on, but we'll see. Speaking of donations, have you continued your divestment of belongings and sent them off to their future owners?
It's kind of stalled a little bit, but we did purchase some new shelving for our garage, and we haven't yet built it. But that process, I think we're going to do it next weekend, will result in quite a few divestments of our garage storage junk,
Well, speaking of divestments, see what I did there? What would you like to talk about today? And again, guys, we're just doing one story today because, we've got to edit this ourselves, and Amelia's way better than we are. So what's our top story that we are going to talk about today, Kristy?
Well, the headline reads, investors worth $5 trillion set giant emissions reduction target for 2025. And this is from the business section on the Optimist Daily. And I think it was inspired by an article in The Guardian. But there is a group of investors who control $5 trillion in assets together, and they have pledged to cut their greenhouse gas emissions that are contained in their portfolios by as much as 29% over the next 5 years. That's a pretty short time frame, actually.
Yeah, it's an aggressive divestment.
It is. But there's their investors include Allianz and the Church of England, and they're part of a UN-convened Net Zero Asset Owner Alliance. It's a group that formed last year with the explicit goal of reducing the emissions in their investment portfolios to net zero by 2050. And in order to reach that goal, the group announced that its 2025 target, which includes a target of reducing emissions across all of the members' portfolios by 16 to 29% of 2019 levels by 2025. So these investors are going to pinpoint the 20 companies that are most responsible for the emissions that are in their portfolios. They will set some specific targets for highly emitting sectors like oil and gas, transport, and utilities, and require that the companies that they are investing in make concerted efforts and actually quantifiable efforts to reduce the emission that are coming out of their companies.
This is one of those circumstances where I am extremely inspired, and 5 trillion is a extraordinary amount of assets to which the market will simply have to respond, right? The market conditions require that this money is invested somewhere, and so companies will rise to the occasion or change their path. The railroad companies won't be in the railroad business. I use this as a metaphor. But this is also one of those circumstances where I want us to all recognize that we can't just hop out of the frying pan and into the fire, because they not only are going to stop with aggressive emissions focused companies, but they're also going to try to lift up companies that are doing good. And so what new technologies are emerging, more sustainable practices are emerging, but I think that I would want to see this investment not only go from one source of energy and power, but perhaps sort of a more diversified investment against smaller companies that are moving up the chain, right?
Well, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example, Summers, and this is happening across the board. And I think the reason I wanted to highlight the story is that the power of money is something that we don't always have a good sense of. But it is a very, very powerful force in our world today, for good and ill. And so part of why I think it's been slow to change, even though the fossil fuel industry has been a known problem child. They have invested millions and millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars, in changing the narrative around climate change, even though everybody knows that this is human caused. Scientists know that this is human caused, and clearly the catastrophes that are happening more and more nature based are linked to the changing climate. And so there's been a concerted effort based on vested interests in not acknowledging the responsibility there. So the fact that these these investment companies are getting involved with forcing the companies that they're putting their money to get better behavior and starting to look towards new technologies. One example is Blackstone, which has invested in companies that were linked to cutting down forests in the Amazon, for example. But they also recently made an investment in Oatly, and they're trying to create a future portfolio where they're investing in companies that are going towards like plant-based milk, for example, moving away from the big dairy industry that has been one of the industries which has not done so well for the environment, right?
Well, it's not just oil and gas companies. It's
right.
Companies. It's,
oil and gas, exactly. Transportation, utilities, but also food production is a really big one. And the biodiversity, the loss of biodiversity there. But as companies get wiser and bring into the way that they look at how the world needs to function and look towards sustainability, look towards circular economies, and put their money where their hearts are, I think it will start to shift the entire economy into a different, better, more sustainable future. And that is the goal. And that's why I wanted to focus on this story. And part of this is, it's consumer tastes which have changed, but it's also the fact that the world has moved on, and oil and gas is a very expensive industry to be in, partly because of the environmental effects, but also because renewable energy is actually cheaper to produce. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Well, and we can go deeper into this story as we do in the Optimist Daily, and you guys can read more about the actual actions that are being taken. The simple fact is that investors recognize change has to happen, and companies will follow suit, or will step up to the plate, or they will lose investment. And there are, however, also some great opportunities ahead. It's funny that we were talking about the change of food and the change of the agriculture and food industry, because the World Wildlife Foundation report shows, one of the headlines today is that plant-based diets can restore our planet's health. So eat more plants. These other headlines include, these tiny cargo bikes want to revolutionize urban delivery. They're very cute. Futuristic plant monitoring buggy makes farming more sustainable. That's sort of a robots meets drones meets agriculture story. And talk about behaviors that have permanently changed. Microsoft will allow its employees to work from home permanently. What else do we have on here today, Kristy?
Well, our lead story has an adorable looking slow loris, but the headline reads, "A network of suspended bridges are helping Java's slow lorises survive."
Furry creatures.
Furry creatures, exactly. There's a headline, "How to Find Equanimity Within a Maelstrom of Negative News." And that's very salient for readers of the Optimist Daily. You guys are on the right track, but this has some additional tips there for you. And how to gauge whether the air is clean enough for outdoor exercise. Also really important for those of us in areas where there's been forest fires or other air pollution factors that make it hard sometimes to be outside and experience nature in a positive way. This gives you some ideas on how to gauge with
it breaks down those numbers that are on the AQI, and is it red, is it purple, is it green? Who knows what any of that means, but it actually helps you sort of break it down, because that decision making of whether or not I should go out and exercise, it's great to have data help you make the decision.
Yeah. But one idea, if you can't get outside, that someone wrote in about on the for our emotional inflammation webinar, because that was one of the ideas there, is to actually exercise. And that's a huge mood booster if you can actually move your body. If you can't get outside, you can put on some music and dance in your living room. And that's actually a great way to
I loved Lisa's suggestion of putting on her hiking boots and doing the stairs in her house. That made me feel very happy.
Yeah.
Although my hiking boots are pretty muddy.
Yeah.
Last headline today on here, there's two more. One about 4 health benefits when you eat figs. Changing tastes. I love figs. Fig Newton is totally my favorite cookie, FYI. And this wearable sensor can be printed directly onto the skin. And I think that's it for our top headlines on the Optimist Daily. But you can always go search the history of the Optimist Daily. You can see all of our top trending solutions. Find something good to share today, guys. Like, go reach out to someone you love and share something good, because that is what we need to do.
Positive emotional contagion.
Get on. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. For just $5 a month, you can help support reader-funded independent journalism and be a part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those who can. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening, and we will be back tomorrow with more solutions.
All right, I think my hair is done. I think I gotta go. Bye, everybody. Thanks again.